Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking an incredibly urgent timeline of AI adoption, the hidden war for its infrastructure, and a concrete blueprint to completely protect your career. We're pulling all of this directly from a really fascinating discussion with tech founders and investors, David and Daniel Lieberman, who are building right out there on the front lines of decentralized AI.
So let's kick things off with a question that totally shatters a huge myth. A lot of people think the physical world is safe from digital disruption, right? Like, we just assume blue-collar jobs, like plumbing, are immune because you physically need a human to turn a wrench. Well, the source material challenges that exact assumption.
Get this. The Liebermans actually lived in a house without proper hot water for 3 whole years. Multiple human plumbers came out, looked at the pipes, and told them the entire heating system needed to be replaced. A massively expensive headache. Out of sheer frustration, they just pointed ChatGPT's camera at the pipes. And you know what happened? In seconds, the AI identified that one single small loop pipe was missing. They called a plumber, told them exactly what the AI said, and boom, the 3-year problem was fixed instantly. So yes, the physical labor was still needed, but the diagnostic expertise, the actual intellectual core of the job, was completely outsourced to AI. It just goes to show how rapidly this tech is bleeding into the real world.
Which brings us to Section 1, the 3-year AI deadline. Because we are seriously on a strict clock before this kind of disruption hits every single corner of our lives.
The source lays out this wild timeline. Over just the next 6 to 12 months, we're expected to hit these tipping points of absolute no return regarding who actually controls AI access. Then, fast forward just 2 years, and we're looking at mind-blowing breakthroughs in biotech, understanding the genome, discovering entirely new materials, and literally rewriting computer operating systems from scratch. And right after that, in the 5 to 10-year window, that's when the disruption moves fully into the physical world, dropping robotics into our factories and daily services.
The stark reality here? Every single job is going to be disrupted. No profession is completely safe. It might take 6 months for some and 10 years for others, but that wave is coming for absolutely everyone. And because this shift is so massive, your survival depends entirely on your willingness to adapt to it today. And that leads us right into Section 2, the 2 AI futures. Because whoever controls the technology essentially controls the future of our productivity, and there's a massive tension building over who holds that power. You know, you'd naturally think the brilliant founders building these models are the ones pulling the strings. But check this out. Dario Amodei, the creator of the massive AI model Claude, owns a mere 1.5% of his own company. The people building the tech are rarely the ones holding the reins once these companies scale up. Now contrast that tiny 1.5% with this absolute mammoth of a number, 70%. Just 3 megacorporations, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, own an estimated 65 to 70% of all global cloud computing power. They essentially own the physical infrastructure, those massive data centers that AI actually requires to function. That is an astonishing level of centralized control. This intense concentration sets up a massive crossroads. On one hand, you have corporate scarcity, where big tech completely gatekeeps AI. Because our productivity will depend on these models, these giant corp could easily artificially inflate prices, sucking up all the financial gains AI creates. But on the other hand, we have the abundant future. If AI becomes decentralized and cheap for everyone, we could literally see our personal productivity multiply by 4. We're talking smarter homes, cheaper goods, and a massive explosion of new small businesses. But hey, whether we get scarcity or abundance, AI itself is getting vastly more capable. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, humans will always win on soft skills, listen to this completely counterintuitive reality from the source. A major bank actually replaced their human debt collection call center with AI. Why? Because the AI was far more empathetic. Human collectors get tired, they get frustrated, they get demanding. The AI, on the other hand, was designed to deeply understand the borrower's stressful situation, speak with infinite patience, and help restructure their finances without any judgment. It wasn't just cheaper, it was fundamentally better at the human element of empathy.
So how do we fight back against that kind of centralization? That's Section 3, the decentralized AI rebellion.
To stop big tech from just dictating our reality and jacking up prices, the source points to a totally different kind of infrastructure, a decentralized AI network. Instead of relying entirely on warehouse-sized server farms owned by 3 companies, imagine a grid of home-based micro data centers powered by regular individuals. It pushes the power right back into the hands of consumers. It's exactly like the transition we've seen with home solar panels. We used to rely 100% on a monopolistic central power grid. But as solar and battery tech got cheaper, people started generating their own power, decentralizing the whole system. The vision here is that consumers could very soon run their own AI nodes right from their living rooms, collectively powering a massive AI network without needing any corporate middleman.
They call it the Bitcoin effect. Before Bitcoin, the financial world and central banks had total, unchallenged power. Bitcoin bypassed them completely by giving power to a decentralized network of users. Now, a decentralized AI grid might not instantly bankrupt big tech, but it acts as a hugely powerful counterbalance. It creates enough viable pressure to force those corporations to adapt, lower their prices, and play fair.
All right, let's get practical. Section 4. How to stay relevant. Because you really need to know how to avoid becoming obsolete while this war for control is unfolding.
There's this incredible story from the source about a relatively inexperienced game design artist. He had a small portfolio and worked alongside veterans with way more raw experience. But he had one absolute superpower: relentless adaptation. Whenever a brand new tool or software dropped, he didn't resist it. He jumped in, played with it, and mastered it immediately. Within just a couple of years, he was headhunted by the legendary studio Blizzard for their highly competitive cinematics division. He wasn't hired for his past experience. He was hired for his fearless adaptation to the future.
And you can actually mimic that artist's success right now by following 3 highly actionable steps to weave AI into your daily routine. Step 1. Take just 1 hour a day that you'd normally spend doom scrolling or watching Netflix and use it to interact with AI tools. Just get in there and mess around. Step 2. Make it social. The source suggests hosting a 1-hour mini hackathon over dinner with friends, even non-technical friends. Sit around and see what kind of app or tool you can generate together in 60 minutes. It makes adaptations super fun. Step 3. Actively implement these tools into your actual life. Have AI plan your chores, organize your schedule, or do your heavy research. Because the ultimate takeaway here is incredibly simple but absolutely crucial. Invest time in your own development. The world is pivoting fast, and continuous, dedicated self-education is literally your best defense against being automated out of the picture. Burying your head in the sand is just a guaranteed way to lose out on the massive opportunities this abundance is going to create.
Which brings me to a final question for you to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. We are on a ticking clock. When that 3-year deadline finally hits and the world shifts, will you have educated yourself enough to be the one controlling these incredible tools? Or will you be waiting on the sidelines for a massive corporation to decide your future for you? The choice and the time to start learning is right now.